Welcome to the Empower Her Wellness Podcast. I'm Morgan, and I'm thrilled to be your host and wellness coach as we navigate the path to a healthier, more confident you. As the owner of Get Fit With Me, I bring years of experience in personal training, nutrition, and coaching to each episode. Join me as we explore practical tips and strategies for fitness, nutrition, mindset, and more, all tailored for busy women just like you. Let's empower your wellness journey and achieve lasting transformation together. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Empower Her Wellness Podcast. I'm Morgan Ekovich, your host and coach. And here we talk about and we discuss all things women's health, whether that's hormones, pelvic floor, from exercise to nutrition, for mindset, accountability, and all things in between. Today, we're going to be diving into that nutrition sector, and we're going to dive deep into not just what we should be eating, but how we can meal prep and plan and create a habit out of it for even the busiest of women. Biggest thing that I see people get caught up in is we get all gun ho of I'm going to meal prep, I'm going to meal plan, I'm going to be super successful. And we take on the entire strategy and process up front. And then we realize we can do it once and then we can do it every once in a while. But to do on a weekly basis, it's too much too fast. Just like anything else when it comes to creating a habit, is we need to know the process, we need to know how to implement it, and we need to start at the beginning and create a habit with that first step and then build on it. Some of the misconceptions or the problems that I see people run up against is they tend to prep before they plan. And it may sound simple of like, why would somebody prep their food before they plan it? It's common. We just get in the habit of doing, okay, I'm going to cut the veggies. I'm going to ground up the beef. I'm going to do this. And then we have this food, but we don't have a plan on how we're going to use it. So if we step back, the number one thing that you need to do is you need to create a plan. And in that plan, the first step, and today I'm not going to talk about all the steps because I've got a whole meal prep and planning boot camp in the show notes you can click on and check it out that walks you through every single step. Today I'm just going to hit on the main ones that I really think are going to make a huge difference in your life in creating that habit. So number one thing you need to do is the first start of creating your habit is putting it on your calendar. What day and what time are you sitting down for 30 minutes to create your plan for the week? The more often and the more frequent you do it, the less time it's going to take you to do it because you'll have a rotation of foods, you'll have your staples created. There's a lot of things that up front take a longer amount of time, but once you get in the habit of doing it, they take less time. So I recommend setting aside 30 minutes. And this is just for creating your plan. The second part of that is going to be you're going to want to make sure you've got time to grocery shop if you need to grocery shop based on your plan. So number one thing, put it on your calendar as a reoccurring. Yes, there are things that happen in life where, oh, I can't always do it Sundays at 9 a.m. Okay, that just means each week you have to reevaluate. Okay, so I did it Sunday at 9. Next week, that doesn't work. I've got to do it Saturday because we're gone Sunday. Great. So as soon as you're done planning your current week, make sure you've got a time on your calendar for the next week so that you've got your plan in place and you've got time set aside. Number one thing to do. Second thing you need to do, and this is the thing that people get caught up in, is we try to plan for all of our meals and all of our snacks. But you want to pull out your calendar or planner. You want to pull out your sheet, and ideally your sheet should say Sunday through Saturday, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. In there, the first thing you need to do before you start filling this out of what your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, your snacks are going to be is I need you to mark off anything you know is already planned. So for instance, you've got dinner with the girls on Wednesday. Great. Dinner with the girls. You don't have to worry about dinner for yourself. Can everybody else in the family have leftovers? Or do you are somebody that lives alone and you don't have to plan for anybody else? Great. Check it off. Mark off those things first. Oh, we're out of town on Saturday and Sunday. We don't need to worry about meals, but we need to make sure we've got good car snacks. Or maybe it's Friday night is always pizza night. You're already writing down for pizza for dinner, pizza dinner Domino's. But maybe in that, you want to add a side salad. You want to make sure that you've got the ingredients. So you make sure to make that clear that main dish is covered, but you still have to do a side. Things like that. That is the first thing that you should do when you're filling out your meal prep and planning schedule is write the things that you don't have to worry about. Because then what that leaves is the blanks, and it has you then determine what do you have to worry about. Okay, I need 3 snacks this week, I need 3 dinners, and I need 5 breakfast. Awesome. Can I make a big dish that will work for breakfast all week long? Or are we doing individual breakfast each day? Same with dinner. Can I make double amount of spaghetti and meatballs on Monday? And can that also be lunch on Tuesday and Wednesday? Think through that. Think about how you can reduce your amount of cooking and prepping and cleaning throughout the week by making double the amounts to cover your lunches. Or maybe you're just not a leftover person and it does take a little bit more intention to say, okay, dinner's going to look this way because I've got to have something different each night. I know a lot of you are variety people. You need something different all the time. Some of you are like, I could eat the same thing every single day my entire life and it would not faze me. We are all different. But you need to then fill out. Once you've filled out your plan, that is then where you are going to go and make sure that you've got everything you need and everything you don't have goes on a grocery list. And then you go and you schedule when you're going to go to the grocery store. I've got a client who does grocery pickup. So right then she does the order with the pickup she's going to do the next morning. She schedules it then. Maybe you are somebody who you've got your list. You're just going to go. You've already planned in your schedule. The thing about creating this habit, just like any other habit, is I can give you the exact framework, but there are going to be tweaks because your lifestyle and your family is different from mine. So when we're creating that foundation, we have to do this foundational basis before we even start prepping. Before we even start cooking and freezing and doing all that, you have to have some sort of a plan. Because if not, you can have all this food prepped, but you're not reducing that decision fatigue during the week by just saying, well, now I've got ground beef. What do I make with that? No. Look back at your plan. What's that ground beef being used for? What's that ground turkey being used for? What's that chicken in the fridge being used for? And the point of meal prepping and planning is to reduce that decision fatigue and give us better options to fuel our body throughout the day. So that is the main portion of the planning. There's a lot more steps that go into it, but that is the main, that if you can start doing that and scheduling that and making sure that is on your calendar for a regular weekly basis, you will be successful. Now let's skip forward to the preparation part. Ways to make this fun, because some people are not leftover people, and I totally understand that. What I recommend is if you're somebody who doesn't like leftovers and you don't want to fall into the I have to eat the things out of the Tupperware and it's already cooked and I just have to put it in the microwave, all of that. If you don't want to be prepping like that, don't prep like that. You don't have to. There's no rule out there that says meal prep and planning has to look like eating out of Tupperware containers of food that is chicken, rice, and veggies that you're going to eat the same thing the next 45 days. No, there's no rule. What I do suggest, though, is starting with your fruits and your veggies, things that typically are going to go bad in your house, things that we want to make sure are accessible for us to reach, things that typically we grab for something else because of the, oh, I have to wash it, I have to peel it, I have to pull it off the vine. Some of those things that we feel like oh, it really isn't that big of a deal. But in the moment when we need to grab a snack, it's a big deal. So we're going to start making our life easier. So in the prepping stage, when you bring home grapes on the vine, I recommend pulling them right off the vine and getting them washed and putting them in a bowl where you can easily pull them out and grab a handful. Maybe you're going to pre-Ziploc baggie all of your food so that, oh, I can just grab this when I'm running out the door and you don't have to portion them out in the morning. This should be, I recommend doing just 30 minutes. And you may be able to get one thing done, or you may be able to get 30 things done. Depends on how many people you rope into this process and if it's yours and what your family's lifestyle looks like. For me to make this fun, I put in my AirPods and I either listen to music or I put on a show and I just set my timer for 30 minutes and see how much I can get through. So for me, that's typically I peel my carrots because I buy the big carrots. I peel my carrots, I wash them, I put them in Ziploc baggies. I pull my grapes off the vine. Any of my apples, I know I like them cold. So if I know I'm going to be somewhere where I'm not going to be able to eat an apple with the core, I'll cut them up, put a little bit of lemon juice, throw them in a baggie. You can also use glass Tupperware or Tupperware in general, which is nice. What I find is Tupperware is good for when you're at home because you just pull it out at any point, keep it on the counter like you would a candy jar, and as you're walking by, just grab a few cucumbers, grab a few carrots. Same with your hummus. If you buy a big Costco hummus, maybe you're going to pre-portion that. Make life simple so that they are actually grab and go snacks because typically fruits and vegetables in their natural form are not. Because there is some sort of washing, there's some sort of peeling, or there's some sort of cutting or divining, whatever it is that has to happen. So take them and make them grab and go snacks that you want to grab instead of grabbing for that granola bar, something that you know is not going to fill you up long term. Single serve yogurts are also a very great thing to have. Yes, they're a little bit pricier than grabbing the big container of yogurt, but if you don't have little containers to put your yogurt in for your protein or your cottage cheese, just buy the single serves until you get in the habit of, okay, I can set aside time, I can pre-portion my yogurt, I can pre-portion my cottage cheese. That also gives you intention. And when you are grabbing something out of the fridge, you know I'm grabbing a carb, I'm grabbing a protein, I've got some healthy fats, things that our body needs. Other things that you can prep are you can buy a block of cheese and cut it up. You can buy some venison or some sausage, some sort of meat. You can add some crackers. You can make your own Lunchable. All of these go into containers really nicely. Ideally, the crackers you'll probably want in a bag, not in the fridge, or making sure it doesn't touch your meat and cheese, only because I think they get a little soggy personally. But if you've got your own way, go for it. Things you can also do is if you have spinach, when you open that up, put a paper towel in there, flip it upside down, get that moisture out of there that will make your spinach last longer. That falls into that prepping of what can I do to make my food last longer and to make it as easy grab and go as possible. The final thing when it comes to prepping that I'm going to talk about today is your proteins. Is I am somebody who I will eat ground beef warmed up all day long. I'll eat chicken. Chicken's not my favorite rewarmed unless it's cooked a certain way. For instance, shredded chicken is like my favorite rewarmed because I will make it in the Instapot and I will put anywhere from 2 to 5 chicken breasts in the Instapot with a couple cups of water, season with salt, pepper, and whatever else I want. Pressurize it for, I don't know, on high for 40, 45 minutes. I will then drain the water out so that the chicken's just in there. I'll grab my hand mixer. I will shred the chicken, and I've got plain chicken that I can turn into chicken salad, that I can throw on a salad, that I can turn into a wrap, that we can eat for dinner with barbecue bowls. We can make it into taco bowls. I can add some salsa onto that. But that is my favorite protein to prep because that is really easy. It lasts all week long, and I don't have to worry about cooking. It's one of those mindless pieces, and you can start it, make all your other stuff, and then finish it. You don't have to actively be cooking it. The other thing is if you are somebody who buys meat in bulk. So let's say you buy this huge thing of ground beef, and you're like, I just need to freeze I got to portion it and freeze it. You might as well cook it, depending on what you're going to use it for. I usually like to cook it all once it's cooled. So cook up the ground beef, drain the fat, and then once it's cooled, I will put it in portions. For instance, for Mike and I will do about 8 ounces. So we each have 4 ounces. I'll do 8 ounces in a Ziploc baggie, pull the air out, and I will freeze it. So it is already cooked meat that is in the freezer. Because one of the things that we run into is we can have this plan of we're going to have tacos for dinner. But if we forget to pull the meat out in the morning to defrost or the night before, we're not having tacos for dinner when the meat is in a raw state. When it's in a cooked state, it defrosts faster. And when it pulls out, you can always crumble and reheat in the pan when it's still a little bit frozen and you're not going to make yourself sick because it's already cooked. You can season it, you can keep it plain, whatever that looks like. But if you know you've got a bulk thing of chicken and a bulk thing of beef coming in, and you want just some pre-made proteins that you can have in your freezer or you can have in your fridge, those are my 2 go-to and favorites. Having protein on hand is really important. Those yogurts, like I said, the tub of yogurt is going to be cheaper than buying individuals. But if you don't have the bandwidth right now to actually pre-portion that yogurt, buy the single serves. Maybe you're going to buy some protein, Fairlife or Pure Protein or Premier Protein drinks just to have on hand because breakfast is a challenge. Maybe you're going to make quiches. Maybe you're going to make breakfast burritos. You can prep and freeze just about anything. I have a ton of recipes and I work with my clients with this so that we can create big portions of things that allow the week to go easier. But I never tell people to start with the big meals only because a lot of us, they don't always reheat as nicely as we want, which then means we're not going to eat it and we're going to want to have something else that's not as great for us. We're going to end up going out and saying, screw this, I'm just going to go get fast food or I'm going to go at Subway, whatever it is. What I tell people to start with, I'm going to go back to what I said in the beginning, is start with your fruits, your veggies, make all of those go-to snacks easily and accessible so that there is no barrier when it comes to needing to grab and go. Same thing with trail mix. If you're a trail mix person, I love trail mix. I think the ones like almonds and cashews and walnuts and a little bit of dark chocolate is like my favorite. Really know what it's called. I get it from Aldi. But that right there, I buy the big bag and then I pre-portion them out into little cups and I just keep those in the cupboard. So I just grab a cup that allows me to know how much I am having. Trail mix is something we'll grab a few handfuls of and we overconsume. Nuts are great. Nuts are a really good, healthy fat. But just like anything, if we sit there and eat half a bag of trail mix, it's not going to make us feel great. Just like if we ate half a carton of ice cream or if we ate 5 chicken breasts in one sitting, all that's not going to make us feel good. So having some portion control in there allows us to become more aware of what we are eating and how much we are eating of something. So when we are creating this habit, we want to boil it down to the simplest, most easiest thing that you can do every week and then build on it. So for the first couple weeks, all you are going to do, you're going to get out your calendar or planner. You're going to get out your sheet that says Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. And you're going to fill out the days you don't have to worry about meals and the meals you don't have to worry about. And then you're going to fill in the meals that you do have to worry about. That is your first step. The second part of that you'll need to do to be successful with that meal plan is making sure you've gone to the grocery store or making sure you have on hand everything you need. And in our boot camp, I talk to you about how to actually use what's in your house first and that type of stuff. So feel free to check that out. It's in the show notes. But start there. Do that for a few weeks. Once that feels really good, then put on a show, put in your music, set a timer for 30 minutes, and prep your fruits and your veggies and your grab and go snacks. Portion out your hummus, portion out your trail mix, portion out your yogurt. Do that type of stuff next so that there is no barriers. After that, think about what proteins or veggies or pastas or rices or noodles that you can make ahead of time that reheat that you and your family enjoy. I feel like I have to say that because if you are unsure if your family likes it, only make a small portion and try it out first. Partly, some people like rice reheated, some people don't. Some people like noodles. Chickpea noodles, in my opinion, do not reheat very well. So I will not make chickpea noodles in advance. Normal white noodles, I will make those in advance. I don't make those very often. But rice, I will. Potatoes are another thing. I'll cook my potatoes almost all the way. I'll roast them. And then each time I want to reheat them, I just pop them in the air fryer. But it's taken a while to get to that step. So after a couple weeks and you feel like you're being successful, add that next step on. A few weeks go by, you're doing the first 2 steps, add that third step on. Eventually, what you're going to notice is this process gets easier. You get faster at it, you get more efficient. It becomes fun, and it should only take about an hour a week, aside from your grocery shopping time, because everybody's different on how long they like to grocery shop. I love grocery shopping, so I take a little bit longer. But making sure that when it comes to your actual prepping and your actual planning, grocery shopping aside, should take you no more than an hour a week. Putting it on your calendar, making it an appointment to yourself, just like your workouts, just like your doctor's appointments. As we talked about how to make meal prepping and planning a habit for even the busiest people today, we use the process we use for any of our habits. We broke it down small. I break it down small. Even when I feel like I'm off track or I've been redirected in my path, I come back. Okay, we just got to plan. Got to go back to planning. Okay, great. I've been successful at planning. Now what? Okay, now to start doing those fruits and vegetables in. Good. Perfect. Okay, now I can prep the proteins. I even go back to the beginning. It's not something I've never met anybody who can do this consistently for 52 weeks out of the year. No, there's always some hiccup that comes in. So if you feel like you've had a hiccup for a week, see where you can get back on track. If you've had a hiccup for multiple weeks, go back to step one. Get yourself reacclimated. That is just what happens with life. Life happens, and we just have to remember what works and where we have to start and re-show up. As we wrap up here, I want to remind you to check out the show notes. You're going to see some of these tips that I talked about today that you are welcome to grab, and I highly recommend implementing. You're going to see access to our 7-day meal prep and planning bootcamp where you get an immersive experience and complete connection with me to make this process your own and make it successful for you and your family. And you're also going to see my email in there, morgan at getfitwithme-morganekovich.com, where I'd love for you to submit any questions or any topics that you'd like to hear here on the Empower Her Wellness podcast. So until next time, make sure to check out those show notes. Let me know what questions you have, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to the Empower Her Wellness podcast. I hope you feel more empowered and ready to tackle your wellness goals. If you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover, feel free to send me a message. Make sure to subscribe and leave a review to help us reach more women just like you. Until next time, take control of your wellness and keep empowering yourself every day.